It's time for our daily dose of cope, and we have the Honorable Reverend Leroy Leopard at the news anchor's desk today for the Leopards News Network. There are so many stories to get to today, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Take it away, Rev. We're going to start with Carlos Gill. He says Trump is a masterclass in resilience, fighting for what he believes in with a no BS mantra. He's the anti-politician America wanted and voted back in. Here's to a stronger future. That is what Carlos said on November 6th. This is what Carlos said on his LinkedIn yesterday. My biggest fear just came true. My grass guy got deported. That was his biggest fear. His grass guy got deported. This isn't a post about politics, but if immigration reform makes you uncomfortable, keep scrolling. Today, my family and I are mourning the quiet disappearance of someone who meant way more to us than just the lawn guy. Francisco wasn't just our landscaper. He was a small business owner. No marketing team, no startup capital, just WhatsApp, word of mouth, and relentless hustle. He never missed a week. Rain, 100 degree heat. It didn't matter. He showed up with a smile, sent me photos of the yard whenever I was out of town like it was his own, and once grabbed a venomous snake with his bare hands to protect my daughters. That's who he was, a hometown hero. A few weeks ago, he stopped showing up. I thought maybe he ghosted me. Turns out ICE deported him. Here's the thing that stings. Francisco did everything right. He worked hard, built trust, created a business, and contributed more to this country than most of the people complaining about him. And still, the system treated him like he didn't belong. We say support small businesses, but only when it's a coffee shop with a neon sign and $8 lattes, not when it's a guy with a mower and a dream. We love to preach hard work in the American dream until it comes from immigrants. We celebrate entrepreneurship until it's inconvenient. Francisco was the American dream, and just like that, he's gone. If you've ever said, just come here legally, I hope you also understand how broken, expensive, and inhumane that process actually is. And if you've ever hired someone like Francisco, you already know the value they bring and how cruel it is to watch them disappear. But sure, let's keep pretending immigration is the problem, not the system that depends on them and then tosses them out like yard clippings. Sometimes the grass isn't greener. It's just missing the hands that made it beautiful. This man literally voted for Trump, and he says he doesn't want to make this about politics. This is politics, especially since Trump ran on bloody mass deportation. And now someone with the name Carlos is complaining that his grass guy got deported. Now we have this woman named MAGA lady Suzanne. She says, I voted for Donald Trump to piss off liberals. It was hilarious. But this bill they're trying to pass will take away my Medicaid. I have type 2 diabetes with diabetic retinopathy. If I can't afford my medicine, I will lose my vision. I'm scared. I'm in tears and need urgent help. So she is crying. She's about to lose her Medicaid. She has type 2 diabetes. Unhealthy and poor MAGA, they blow my mind, just like gay MAGA and MAGAtinos. They are the opposite of smart. They are quite unwise. So that first post was from yesterday. This is today. This is this morning, saying, while I don't agree with what they are doing with this bill, I do appreciate that President Trump is fully committed to restoring Christianity back in the United States. We are a Christian nation, and I believe God will keep us a safe country forever. Whatever kind of Christians they are some cruel, cruel people. These supposed Christian lawmakers, the way they want to make sure that people lose their health care, any kind of money for food, any kind of social safety nets. That's the kind of Christianity that MAGA lady Suzanne is championing. Yay, making sure that the rich get richer and that the poor conk out, and that the poor make sure that people like her go blind. This is her pinned post. She says Obama nor Biden could have pulled this off. He was shot and still rose up like a champion. This is what true strength and patriotism looks like. So this is a man who might be responsible for her going blind, and she's still blindly following this man. This is what a cult is. Palm says, yep, and guess what? Your Medicaid will be gone. And Corin Melvin says, now he's taking your health insurance. Still feel like you're winning? That's why Coop says, rose up and took your Medicaid and your vision. And that's the thing. They're never going to blame Trump and all his buddies for doing this. They're never going to do that. It's always going to be something about Obama or Biden. And now MAGA lady Suzanne says, I don't know why I'm being harassed by everybody. I voted for Trump, but I don't like something he's doing. I still like the other stuff he's doing. Being a Trump supporter is not a crime. And then here she is. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you protect President Donald J. Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, their administration, the American people, our country, and the rest of the world. Please continue to bless us with good health, happiness, and wealth. Amen. Here she is sharing a screenshot from Donald Trump. He says gas prices fall. Gas prices fall below $2.70 on First Coast. What is that? Holiday gas prices lowest since 2021. Gas prices hit 4-year low ahead of 4th of July holiday weekend. I did not see very low prices. Maybe that's somewhere else. If anyone sees $2.70, please weigh in the comments. But this is what she says. Thank you, President Trump. This is what I voted for. How you going to drive, Suzanne, if your eyesight goes? How are you going to drive if your health continues to decline? But yes, let's keep parroting these talking points. This was a post in the Trump subreddit. So this person named Brown Charlie 1922 says, big beautiful bill has passed. So much winning. The middle class tax cuts are still intact, and our president is still making America great again. And then Flying Penguin says, I was a Trump voter, but my God, that's a terrible bill. You see this flare, Trump curious. Master Crow says, my wife is in PA school and the Grad Plus loan is the only way that is possible. With the BBB, they are looking to cap what students can take out to a level that will really F lower and middle class people looking to get into grad programs. And then Federal Willingness says, wait till she starts looking for jobs. Then Young Man, who is Trump curious, says, this bill effing blows. Two-time voter for Trump, but this bill is dog poop. And then Not Actual says, same sentiment. This bill is dog poop. Anyone thinking this is a win for America needs to hope off Trump's D. Hope off Trump's D. Okay. Bill Nye, he is MAGA, saying, I'm MAGA, but this effing thing is a disaster that will cost us in 5 years. It's effing stupid, and Trump knows it. These people are not happy, and they're at least saying it. These people in the Trump subreddit are not as delusional as the people over in the conservative subreddit. Substantial Yam says, when this passes, Donald Trump will be responsible for adding 30 to 31% of our national debt, including his policies from both terms. We put a guy in charge who once filed bankruptcy to the tune of over $1 billion in debt, opening casinos, and he literally just brought that to a massive scale and saddled generations of Americans with a huge debt burden. By 2035, 1 of every 4 tax dollars in the United States will go directly to paying off interest on the tax cuts given out over the last decade. That's 25% of all taxes going directly into the pockets of the wealthy bondholders and foreign governments. Interest payments will surpass defense spending and Medicare, effectively rendering the U.S. incapable of investing in growth, innovation, and social services for the well-being of average Americans. We are living through the collapse of the American global dominance. Take a picture while it lasts. This person is Trump curious. Another Trump curious. This bill is a disaster. We pay 33% of our revenue in debt interest. Now we're upping the debt so much more. Do we need the interest payment to be half the government revenue? We need more cuts. The supposed tax break is going to break our backs and kids' backs in 10 years. And then Stunning Rose says, if you're in the middle or low income bracket, know that when you finally get hit, this bill is why. So some of these people, even in the Trump subreddit, they can actually see what's going on. Other people that are still in the cult and can't open their eyes, they will never talk bad about their daddy. Oh, well, where's my leopard? The leopard goes, rah. See my shirt? The leopards are feasting, y'all.
Of all enraging things regarding this bitch ass bill, the thing that pisses me off the most to the highest level of passivity is how calm these senators are listening to their fellow senators vote against the rights of millions of American people to this degree. You sat there and heard your constituents yell out nay with fervor, with ferocity, in response to an amendment that would look out for millions of Americans. And your first instinct was to pull out a pen and notepad and write a speech. That Senate floor should have turned into a WWE match. A bloodbath even. Y'all are sitting right next to these senators. Start hooking. I want to see Gretchen hemmed up and Jonathan Nicholas socked in the face. I cannot believe that in the face of this much corruption, y'all are still wanting to play by the goddamn rules. They done tossed, we've only been in this administration 6 months and the rules were tossed out January 20th. Take them goody two shoes off and start stomping on these folks who are putting millions of Americans' lives at risk. What are we talking about? Y'all sitting there worried about changing the name of the goddamn bill when y'all could be worried about changing and rearranging facial structures. Let's refocus. Oh, but Cindy, violence isn't the answer. Look at here, heifer. This bitch ass bill is about to make violence legal on a whole different level. And if these senators have the capacity to vote for such a violent ass bill, then they should also have the capacity to throw and receive hands. I don't understand what the problem is here. Because if you have the balls to vote for a bill that will strip millions of Americans of more of their money and access to health care, then those balls should also be big enough for you to take your ass outside and fight for it. So get in the streets and hook it out.